G'day you mob and welcome to Aussie English. I am your host Pete and my objective here is to teach you guys the English spoken down under. So whether you want to sound like a fair dinkum Aussie or you just want to understand what the flippin' hell we're on about when we're having a yarn, you've come to the right place. So sit back, grab a cuppa and enjoy Aussie English. Let's go. G'day you mob, how's it going? Welcome to this episode of Aussie English, the number one place for anyone and everyone wanting to learn Australian English. I'm your host Pete, and welcome to another pronunciation episode. Today we're going to be going through contracting would onto the different pronouns I, you, he, she, we, they, and it. I'm sure you sort of get the program now after the previous 3 episodes that we have done on the podcast with have and has, will, and am, is, and are. So, before we get into it, today's episode is brought to you by my Australian pronunciation course. If you want to learn to speak with confidence and develop your own Australian accent and reduce your accent, then check out the Australian pronunciation course at aussieenglish.com.au/APC 100, okay, /APC 100. You'll save $100 when you use that link. The link will be in the description for this episode. So click it, go check it out, have a read. There is a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can sign up and try it for a week, risk-free. And if you don't like it, if you decide it is not for you, you don't have the time, you're not interested anymore, you've lost motivation, whatever reason, you'll get your money back. But yeah, inside the course, I go through all the different vowels and consonant sounds in Australian English. You have tutorial videos for each of these sounds. You then have exercise videos and audio files so that you can work on the pronunciation of these different sounds and master them quickly and effortlessly in a fun way. And then in the last section of the course, we go through more advanced things like assimilation, consonant clusters, the dark L, the syllabic N and L. There's a whole bunch. There's like 25 different lessons in there on the more advanced aspects of pronunciation that most teachers never teach students. This is the stuff that I have spent a lot of time learning and teaching my students over the years, and it's good fun, and it makes a big difference when you can do this. Not only just hearing Australians speak, you'll suddenly understand them a lot better and more clearly because you get the pronunciation, but you can also develop your own Australian accent and speak more confidently. So check that out, aussieenglish.com.au /APC 100. Links in the description. And lastly, don't forget to grab today's free worksheet. Again, the link will be in the description so that you can see the sentences that we're working on today and you can take notes, you can print it out, you can read them, all that sort of stuff whilst listening to this episode. All right, so without any further ado, let's get into the pronunciation side of things. Firstly, we're going to go through the full phrase, I guess, the pronoun and the word would. I would, you would, he would. And we're going to contract these each time. So we can practice the pronunciation of them uncontracted and then contracted. So I would becoming I'd. Okay, let's go. I would. I'd. You would. You'd. He would. He'd. She would. She'd. We would. We'd. They would. They'd. It would. It'd. Good work, guys. Good work. Now, something that I get asked about, and we talked about this in the last episode, how do you tell the difference between had and would when they're both contracted the same way onto pronouns? So, I had, I'd. You would, you'd. Again, this is through context, right? Would is usually followed by a bare infinitive, right? So the verb in the infinitive form without to in front of the verb. I'd prefer. I would prefer. You'd enjoy. You would enjoy. However, when we use had, we're using had in this case as an auxiliary verb, and it is going to work with a verb in the past. So it'd be a past participle. So if you were to contract had onto I and you said, I'd preferred, you would have to use the past participle of the verb and not the infinitive. I had preferred. You had enjoyed. He had left. I'd preferred. You'd enjoyed. He'd left. So that's how, usually through context, we get it, right? And it just takes a bit of practice and getting used to just hearing these contractions quite often and using them yourself as well, and you'll get through it. And, sometimes native speakers as well, we kind of get confused. Someone might say something, a short sentence with a contraction, and we're like, "Ooh, was that a had or was that a would?" And we would just ask, what do you mean? You just don't be afraid if you don't know to just always say, huh? Like, I don't get what you said. What did you say? Say it again. Say it a different way. So yeah, it happens. It happens. Anyway, now we're going to go through different sentences using I'd, you'd, he'd, she'd, we'd, they'd, and it'd. And we will talk about other aspects of pronunciation as they come up as we go through these sentences. Okay, things like stress, where the schwas are used, perhaps intonation, any of those sorts of things that come up, linking sounds, linking the different words together with sounds, and assimilation. We've done that each episode so far, and I hope you've enjoyed it. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay. I'd prefer coffee over tea. I'd prefer coffee over tea. I'd prefer coffee over tea. Okay, I'd prefer. One thing you're going to notice here with with this D sound at the end of these words when would is contracted onto these pronouns, quite often we mute them, or they may even turn into a T flap. The sound may actually change, so you're not necessarily going to hear a hard D sound like I'd prefer. You're going to hear in this case the D kind of gets muted so that we're not adding in a vowel sound after it, right? That sound. You don't want to add that in because it makes things confusing. So we don't want an extra vowel between I'd and prefer, so we mute the D and just go straight into the P sound at the start of the word prefer. I'd prefer. And by muting, what I mean here is that we go to make the D sound, so the tongue closes by touching the top of the mouth behind the teeth, right? As if you're going to go say the sound D, and it just doesn't release. So you don't do the D part at the end, right, where the air comes out. You go straight to the P sound. I'd prefer. I'd prefer. So practice slowly and then try and speed it up. I'd prefer. I'd prefer. I'd prefer. I'd prefer. I'd prefer coffee over tea. Now, when we say coffee over tea, what do you hear linking coffee over? So the word coffee and over, there's two vowels next to one another, E at the end of the word coffee and O at the start of the word over. So when there are two vowels next to one another like that, we link them with a small kind of subtle y, w, or r sound in English. And in this case, because we are using the word, or the word, gosh, I keep doing that, don't I? We're using the sound E, where the lips are very wide, like a smile. E, they come inwards, and you kind of make a y, a Y kind of sound. Y. Coffee over. And it's subtle. It's not like coffee over, It's not really accentuated. It's subtle. Coffee over. Coffee over. Coffee over. So just imagine a little Y in between these words, linking them together between those two vowels. Coffee over tea. I'd prefer coffee over tea. I'd prefer coffee over tea. Now let's have a think about stress. I'd prefer coffee over tea. I'd prefer, second syllable of the word prefer, so you can hear the schwa sound at the start there for that first syllable. Prefer, prefer. I'd prefer coffee. First syllable of the word coffee gets stressed. I'd prefer coffee over tea. I'd prefer coffee over tea. And then tea gets stressed. So the words that get stressed are prefer, coffee, and tea. And there are different syllables in prefer and coffee that get stressed. Prefer, second syllable. Coffee, first syllable. I'd prefer coffee over tea. Let's keep going. You would. You'd. You'd enjoy this new book. 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 So you'd at the start here, it can get reduced to just you'd. You'd enjoy this. I reckon you'd enjoy this. We often do that. We'll give it the schwa vowel, really speed things up and just quickly pass over that word. It's really obvious when you're talking to just one other person that you're going to be using the pronoun you all the time. I think that's why we reduce it quite a lot because, context, right? You're talking to someone, it's unlikely you're going to start using it or, she when directly talking to another person. You're going to use you. You'd enjoy this new book. You'd enjoy. Now, what happens to the D at the end of the word you'd or you'd? Is it a hard D or is it a T flap or is it a muted D? You'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. It's a T flap or D flap in this case. So we're using that type sound where the tongue kind of flaps across the top of our mouth and just slightly interrupts the airflow. You'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. Why? Why are we doing this? We have a D between two vowel sounds. So you got the oo or in you'd or you'd, and you have the in at the start or I at the start of the word enjoy. Enjoy. You'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. So we use the T or D flap there. Enjoy. Enjoy. We're using, I don't think it's a schwa sound per se. It's more of an I sound like in the word it, right? Enjoy. You wouldn't, I don't think it would be like enjoy. It's a weird one, right? Where you've got an E that sounds like I. So enjoy. You'd enjoy this new, linking here the S and the N, snoo. It's a weird sound, right? I guess it's also because new, in English we would use the yod sound, the y, in front of the E or the oo vowel sound in that word. So instead of saying new, like an American, we would say new, where you've got like a ny. This new book. This new book. This new book. So it's like an S, an N, and a y sound there. Snoo. This new book. You'd enjoy this new book. And which words are being stressed? You'd enjoy this new book. You'd enjoy this new book. Enjoy. Enjoy, so second syllable in the word enjoy, new and book, this new book. And this, I vowel sound can get reduced to just this new book. You may hear it as a schwa sound from time to time. You'd enjoy this new book, like it's really quick, this new book. Let's keep going. He would. He'd. He'd already left when I arrived. He'd already left when I arrived. There's a lot going on here. He'd already. What's happening? Similar to the previous sentence. He'd already. We're using a T or D flap there between the E sound in he'd and the or sound in already. Two vowels, D between them, not stressed, so he'd already. We use a T flap, D flap to link those. He'd already. He'd already left when I arrived. This is another one of those consonant clusters. So we have left when. It's an F, a T, and a W sound all together. Left when. And it almost turns the T into a D kind of sound. Like it's not an obvious T. And it's probably because we're not aspirating it. We're not shooting out all that air, that kind of sound after a T. Left when. Yeah, I think it's still sort of said as a voiceless T, but because of the lack of aspiration, because you're going straight into a W sound, it doesn't sound as obviously a T, like left when I arrived. So what happens here? When I arrived, there's a lot going on. We link or take the N from the end of the word when and put it at the front of the word I. When I arrived. And then we link I and arrived with a Y sound again. I arrived. It's very subtle. I arrived. Another thing is that arrived starts with a schwa sound. Arrived. Because the second syllable is stressed. Arrived. He'd already left when I arrived. So which words are being stressed? He'd already left when I arrived. Already left, I, and arrived. He'd already left when I arrived. Let's keep going. She would. She'd rather stay home tonight. This is another case of like she'd, that long E vowel sound kind of getting really shortened down to say it really quickly. So it's almost, I don't know if it's quite a schwa should or if it's just a shid, like really quick e'd kind of sound. She'd already, it's still like an E. She'd already, or she'd rather. She'd rather stay home tonight. She'd rather. Now, this is an interesting one. It's not a hard D kind of sound. She'd rather. It's a very soft kind of D sound because we're going straight into an R sound at the start of the word rather. She'd rather. So like as the tongue comes up to make the D sound, we kind of release it slightly and then go straight into the R. She'd rather stay home tonight. She'd rather stay home tonight. So rather, where's the stress? Rather. The first syllable, ra. Rather stay home tonight. She'd rather stay home tonight. And in tonight, where's the stress? Tonight. Schwa at the start there. Tonight. She'd rather stay home tonight. So the words that are getting stressed, there's quite a few of them actually. Rather, stay, home, and tonight. She'd rather stay home tonight. Although stay we kind of say pretty quickly. She'd rather stay home tonight. All right, next one. We would. We'd love to help if we can. We'd love to help if we can. We'd love to help if we can. We'd love. We'd. Very fast again. We'd. Just like she'd. She'd, we'd, should, would. We'd love to help if we can. We'd love to help if we can. We'd love to help. To gets reduced to just to. We'd love to. We'd love to help. We'd love to help if we can. Help if. We take the P from the end of the word help and put it onto the front of the word if. Help if. And you may notice the L sound in the word help because the L is followed by a P. We use a dark L quite often. You can say the light L, but quite often we use the dark L to just speak quickly. So instead of help, you'll hear help. It's like a reverse W, closing of the lips into a little rings sort of shape. So instead of L, you get an ooh kind of sound. L, help. Help if we can. We'd love to help if we can. And which words are being stressed? We'd love to help if we can. So love, help, can. Oh man, we'd love to help if we can. We'd love to help if we can. Let's keep going. They would. They'd never say that. They'd never say that. So again, we sort of speed over the A vowel sound in the contracted they'd. They'd never say that. They'd never say that. Never. Where's the stress? First syllable, never. They'd never say that. One thing to note too, these words like rather and never, if you just say them on their own, rather or never, or they're at the end of a sentence where there's nothing coming after those words, the ER sound at the end there is like an short sound. Rather, never. But when they're within sentences, like she'd rather stay home tonight, they'd never say that. To speed things up, we're using a schwa sound instead of a short sound. So you'll hear instead of . They'd never say that. They'd never say that. Never say that. Never say that. It's really quick. She'd rather stay. She'd rather stay. They'd never say. They'd never say that. They'd never say that. Okay, which words are being stressed? They'd never say that. Probably saying that as well as never. They'd never say that. So all of them, except for they'd, effectively. All right, and the last one. It would. It'd. We use the T flat there. It'd. 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 And I'm muting the D at the end there. It'd. It'd. T flat, muted D. It'd. It'd be great to catch up. It's very percussive, right? You'll hear this almost like this da-da-da. It'd be great to catch up. Oh, mate, it'd be great to catch up. It'd be great to catch up. It'd be great. It'd be. It'd be. It'd be. What's happening too is we mute that D, it'd, so we don't release it. We don't say it'd, and then we go straight into the B at the start of the word. Well, be, right? It'd be. It'd be. It'd be. It'd be great to catch up. It'd be great to catch up. It'd be great to catch up. It'd be great, so we're stressing great, to catch up. To catch up. We're stressing catch and up as well. What happens to to? It'd be great to catch up. It gets the schwa sound. It's unstressed, that word. To catch up. To catch up. To catch up. It'd be great to catch up. It's a very percussive sentence. It's very like da-da-da-da-da-da. It'd be great to catch up. So, anyway, that's it, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Definitely be sure to check out the Australian pronunciation course. You can go and check this out at aussieenglish.com.au/APC100. You'll save $100 when you use that link to sign up. The link is in the description. Remember, if you've got any questions, you can always shoot me an email or you can send me a message on Instagram and we can have a chat there too if you've got some questions about the course. Be sure to grab today's free worksheet as well so that you can read and listen whilst going through this episode. You can take notes, print it out, all that sort of jazz. And besides that, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week. I'm Pete, this is Aussie English, and I'll see you next time. Tooroo.